Welcome to Bournemouth for further coverage from round one of the CEV Beach Volleyball Continental Cup, hosted at the Leaf Studio School on their brand new sand court facility. This is an innovation by the FIVB, the International Volleyball Federation, that runs through to Rio 2016. 44 countries are looking to emulate the amazing achievements of nations like Germany and the Netherlands, who took gold at the Olympics and World Championships respectively. Round one involves 8 teams across Europe. A top 2 finish at one of these tournaments means automatic qualification into the third round. Those nations that don't win a ticket to round 3, though, will have to go on and battle it out in the second chance second round. Bournemouth is playing host to Group D in round one, where the home side took on Ireland, Slovakia and top seed Sweden on the women's side of the draw. The men face Ireland, Slovakia and number 1 seeds landlocked Switzerland, whose Olympic beach volleyball pedigree extends to a momentous bronze medal won by former players Stefan Kobel and Patrick Huscher at the 2004 Games in Athens. For England's women, round one on home sand didn't go quite to plan. They did have a fantastic battle with Sweden in the final, narrowly losing out in the golden game after holding 2 match points, leaving a delighted Sweden led by world number 46 pairing of Karen Lundqvist and Nina Gravender to head directly into next year's European Continental Cup third round. England showed good form against some world-class opposition, but in the end they went down 2-1 in the losers bracket to an ecstatic Slovakia. That left Sweden to top the group ahead of the Slovakians, which means a direct entry into round 3 for both nations and a clash with the likes of Russia, the Czech Republic, Germany and the Netherlands. Ireland are eliminated in round 1, but England's third place means they have another shot at Rio via round 2 later this year. Now though, it's the turn of the men. The home side have Bournemouth born and bred Greg Weaver, now based in the USA, paired with Wessex player 6'8" Phil Smith playing as England 2. While England 1 can stretch the tape even further as Jake Sheaf continues his successful new partnership with 6'10" blocking machine Chris Gregory. England's main rivals in Group D will surely be Switzerland, whose number 1 team of 2012 Olympian Sebastian Chevalier alongside new partner Alexis Strasser will be a tough test for the home side. No one said it was going to be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. Coming up on today's show, we'll have highlights from the first 2 matches in this best-of-3 crunch tie between England and Switzerland to top the group here in Bournemouth. England 2 take on the Swiss number 1 pairing in the opener. Then England 1 find themselves involved in a tasty encounter with Switzerland 2. A full-on head-to-head battle, adding to the pageant at this top-class festival of beach volleyball. Find out if England win that argument and manage to triumph in their Alpine Challenge later in the show. Before we get to the action though, it's time to hear from England's beach volleyball coach based here at the Leaf Studio, former New Zealand World Tour player Kirk Pittman.
My career spanned over 10-11 years. I was retired after the London Olympics. We missed out by a couple of spots. So played over 110 World Tour tournaments, competing at the highest level. Got married to an English woman and living in England and taken on the role as the senior men's and women's beach volleyball coach for England. I'm just facilitating and helping and planning and putting things in place to educate the athletes and help them learn along the way. It's a bit of a journey. The goal is to come first or second. That means we skip a round. We don't go to round 2, we go to round 3, which will be next year. If we don't, we come third or fourth. We go into the kind of essentially the losers bracket, which will be played in September somewhere in Europe. It'll be nice to skip a stage. I think both teams are good enough to do that. For beach volleyball or even volleyball in this country in England, there needs to be an educational process on how it's played around the world. Obviously I've taken up a role here at the Leaf Academy where I'm the volleyball coordinator, so I'm working with kids to get better and come here and play volleyball and hopefully strive to do bigger and better things. So it's exciting for the future of volleyball.
England men played well on day 1 here in Bournemouth under Kirk's guidance, and alongside the other member of the coaching staff, Louis Lett, the team is well positioned to claim one of the 2 tickets into next year's third round of qualification in the CEV Continental Cup. With the Leaf Studio beach courts bathed in glorious late afternoon sun, England stormed through their semi-final encounter with a talented young Slovakian team. A tactical decision meant England 1 were first on court and they demolished Jan Vasek and Marian Lukac in straight sets. It was a confident performance by Chris and Jake. The ace serve to win the match was the icing on the cake and underlined Gregory and Sheaf's potential on the international stage. Not to be outdone, Greg Weaver and Phil Smith stepped onto court, knowing that another win would put England into Sunday's final, and they went about their work against Slovakia 1 with the same confidence and technical quality as their teammates. Greg's high-flying offence giving him options on every attack, which he took with ease. Combined with Phil's dominance at the net, it was a clinical performance that put England into the final by 2-0. So at the end of the day, this is how Group D was shaping up. England defeated Slovakia in semi-final 1, while top seed Switzerland were in equally imperious form against Ireland in semi-final 2, setting up a mouth-watering contest for the final here in Bournemouth as the home side takes on Switzerland.
From Greece, Anastasios Melis. And the second referee today from Belgium is Martin Hessel.
England 2 step onto court first against Switzerland 1. Greg Weaver, blocker turned defender in recent years, will be scooting around in the backcourt behind the tremendous front court presence of Phil Smith. For Switzerland 1, 2012 Olympian Sebastian Chevalier is road testing new partners for Rio, and the impressive Alexis Strasser will be doing the blocking work for the man who finished 9th in the London Olympic Games. In set 1, Strasser had the better of the battle with Smith, the Swiss employing a clever serving tactic which enabled Strasser to build a wall at the net that Smith just couldn't seem to blast through. Finesse was the option Smith went to, but taking the pace off the ball to avoid the block will always bring a classy defender into the mix, and Chevalier was soon making defensive digs and then reminding England of his attacking power to win the first set. In set 2, it was full marks to England as they stayed with Switzerland in some brutal rallies, exchanging the ball no less than 9 times with the score at 8-4 to the visitors in this best-of-3 sets match. At this level, the technical quality and fitness levels of the players sometimes means that defence can cancel out attack, but make no bones about it, a rally like this on sand really hurts. This quad-burning workout mid-set even got to champion CrossFit athlete Greg Weaver, who finally coughed up the hitting error to give the Swiss a lead they could protect in the second. Weaver and Smith making this a tough day at the office for Strasser and Chevalier. England 2 have tried hard today, but they just haven't managed to break down this World Tour duo from Switzerland. And Alexis Strasser hammers another attacking shot into the corner. Greg Weaver trying to defend, the man who's living the dream at the moment in terms of his beach volleyball, based out in Redondo Beach in California with wife Leanne and their 3 children. Also does a lot of training as a CrossFit athlete, so he really is at the peak of his game now, Weaver, at 32 years of age. And he's teamed up with this man, Phil Smith, dominant presence at the net. And with the service, it would appear. Another point clawed back then for England 2. And I think Phil Smith got this one to dip and move just a little bit on Alexis Strasser. Now then, they're going to target the same man, but Strasser with a better pass this time around. Oh, and drums that cross-court. That's a good variation on that cross-court hit from Strasser. The first one going past Weaver on his right-hand side. Now watch him get out the sand, take this high and then cap the ball, get his hand over the top of the ball and impart a bit of top spin, a bit of cut, taking it to the left-hand side of Greg Weaver in defence on that occasion. Phil Smith, oh yes, returns the compliment very nicely. Little deflection off Sebastian Chevalier's defence, but a touch of anything you can do, we can do equally as well. Jump float serve from Chevalier onto the 28-year-old Smith. And Smith lines that cross-court up beautifully. So 4 points in it. Change of ends. Will it be a change of fortune for England 2? And Strasser off the net, but he's played that well. Now those are the moments when you really do need to take a good look as a blocker There was a chance there for Phil Smith to break from the net. Strasser looking a long way back into the air to see that ball. And gets away with one there. 17-12, Strasser serves, sprints through to the net. Both teams using this blocker-defender setup. And the defender, Chevalier, has it. Another point, Switzerland. Well, Alexei Strasser can be quite abrasive sometimes, and he's certainly been telling Sebastian Chevalier how he wants him playing in this match. And Chevalier with a little reminder there of his class. 9th place at the Olympic Games in 2012, playing alongside one of the Swiss legends, Sascha Hayer. And now trying to find his new partner to take through to Rio, and Alexei Strasser seems to be the choice at the moment. Well, Weaver the target with this serve, but this is an exceptional beach volleyball shot. Watch him take a little look just there, sees the space down the line, and then has a chat with Alexei Strasser after that one. There's been a few words exchanged at the net between those two. And Phil Smith comes up with another important ace to yet again close that gap back to just 4 points. He's caused Strasser some real problems with that float serve. And Strasser, in turn, has caused problems for England too when he's managed to control the ball. That's another very clever put away. This is the kind of shot that you only really get on the beach. That little cut shot, taking all the pace off, tight to the net, just the one blocker to beat. Serve long from Sebastian Chevalier. So England 2 not out of this one yet. 2 points required for this #1 Swiss team. They've played 9 FIVB World Tour events now, Chevalier and Strasser, including a fantastic 9th in the Grand Slam at The Hague. Oh, and it's with shots like that, just underlining their class in this match, and I think that's about it for England too. They've got a mountain to climb now to get back into this game. First match of this best-of-3 series against Switzerland to decide the winner here in Group D in Bournemouth. And this is just world-class from Strasser. Patrick Heuscher, 2004 Olympic bronze medalist, says that he's one of the most exciting prospects that Switzerland have had for a while. And now, match point. Shot from Weaver goes wide on the cut. And Switzerland bring this one home, not without some effort, but 21-13, 21-15 is a solid win for the #1 Swiss pairing. It's time to call in the cavalry as Switzerland take a 1-0 lead in this best-of-3 series, pushing all the pressure down the line to England 1. Chris Gregory and Jake Sheaf rumble into action in match 2 against another very talented Swiss team. It's a must-win situation for the home side. More world-class beach volleyball action from the CEV Continental Cup coming up after the break, right here on Sky Sports. Welcome back to the CEV Continental Cup here at the Leaf Studio School in Bournemouth. Not a great start for England in the Group D final in this best-of-3 match series against the top seeds. Switzerland won, defeating England 2 in the opening match of the final, which means the pressure now passes down the line to England 1 as they head into a must-win match with the Swiss #2 team.
From the Netherlands, it's Marcel Hazou. And from Greece, the second referee, Anastasios Menelis.
As the old proverb says, every big journey begins with a single step. But England's #1 pairing of Jake Sheaf and Chris Gregory have already taken some massive strides in their bid to represent Great Britain in Rio. Switzerland too, Jonas Kissling and Mats Kovac know that a win guarantees them a round 3 slot. But this is going to be a massive test against arguably the best pairing GB has ever produced in men's beach volleyball. Well, we know exactly what this England #1 team can do. Jake Sheaf about to get this game underway with the serve. Chris Gregory in his familiar position blocking at the net. But how will they cope with the pressure in this second match of the Group D final? Well, they start with an error. Jake Sheaf just rolling that out over the baseline. So the Swiss team #2 pairing open their account. Jonas Kissling and Mats Kovac. They've got a World Tour top 10 finish. That was in Durban, South Africa at the end of last season. And then this year they started with a fantastic second place in the Fuzhou Open. in China. Another hitting error from England 1. This time it's Chris Gregory that's gone out over the baseline. So 2-0 Switzerland. But I have to say, despite that pedigree for the Swiss team in the blue shorts, I think that based on the evidence so far at the Continental Cup, Gregory and Schief come into this game as marginal favourites, and at last they've got control of the ball, and Chris Gregory with that 6'10" frame and jump to boot, putting that one away off the blocker and defender. Gregory serves. Kovac's the target at the moment. Good cross-court hit from him. Great dig from Schief, but that was going out. Whoa, what a bizarre decision there from Jonas Kissling. Decided to play that ball in defence. Didn't get a call from his partner, but that would have drifted wide. And then Kovac compounds the issue by hitting out over the baseline. 2-all. Best of 3 sets this match. First 2 sets to 21 points. And then if it does go 1-all, we'll have a tiebreaker set to 15. And it is an error-strewn start to match 2. And there's another one. So 3-all. It's a huge match for both teams. For Gregory and Schief, without doubt, this is the biggest game they've played as a pairing so far. And that's more like it. Solid kill from Mats Kovac, just going high off Chris Gregory's hands. And it's 4-3 to Switzerland 2. Very quickly we hit our first change of ends. Multiples of 7 will see the teams change ends to ensure that there is no advantage with either wind or sun from either end of the court. Mats Kovac waiting to block with the signals to Jonas Kissling, who serves. Now this is where England definitely have an advantage. Gregory hitting against the block of either Kissling or Kovac. He's always going to have an advantage. He contacts this ball around about 30 centimetres higher than that Swiss block can jump. So Gregory with plenty of options there, and that's a good kill. Off the block and out for 4-all. Very tight. Gregory trying to grab hold of the ball. That's a brilliant hustle from Schief, and unfortunately just a miss hit off the end of the fingers going for the corner. Desperately important in beach volleyball that you finish the shot. That's the first part of the puzzle. Fantastic defence, but then just doesn't manage to cap the ball to get it into that corner. Another error. 3 hitting errors so far from England, and as many serving errors from Switzerland. That's a horrible serve from Kissling. 5-all. Now this is the perfect situation for England. Schief serving, Gregory already at the net, and they can really establish what they want to do with block and defence. Now, did that catch a piece of Gregory's armpit? No, say the officials. That was all net tape. And Mats Kovac is not happy at all. Well, it's always going to be tough. It's always marginal. But that certainly caught the net and went out of play. So England move into the lead for the first time in this game, and they extend that lead to a 2-point cushion with probably their main weapon out there on the sand, the block of Chris Gregory. 2 Swiss boys are tall, 194 and 196 tall, so comfortably over 6 feet, but against the height of Gregory at the net and the pace of Schief around the back court, they're going to find it difficult to play shots today. They're going to have to hit with power, and to hit with power, they're going to have to pass the ball and set the ball well. If you don't get those first 2 phases right, then it's very difficult to attack. That's a great pass. Good dig, cross court from Kissling. Chance to attack for him. Oh, that's nicely saved. Jake Schief keeps England in the rally. And a beautiful response. That's a superb shot from Kissling. The first one was brilliantly defended. Schief gets it back into play. Now that's not a great set or pass from Kovac and Kissling, but Kissling just keeps it together with a really good cut shot cross court for 7-all. And our second change of ends. This game flying by at the moment. Better serve, but another good pass from Gregory. Well, they're reading him at the moment on those big cross-court bombs. But equally, Chris Gregory breaking very well from the net. And that line shot, superb. And at last, these two teams into their stride now. This is proper beach volleyball. And a good line roll shot. Virtually impossible for Jonas Kissling to get there. Gregory serves, 8-7 England. He races into the net to set up his block against Kissling, who chips it back across court, and Jake Sheaf just having a little word with the referee there about the handling, and that started our first discussion at the net. Sheaf with Kissling. Just a little welcome to the game, I think, from those two. Tell you what, though, Jake Sheaf will not back down. And now Chris Gregory has gone across to the referee for a word, but I think it's more the referee laying the law down and saying, look, come on, guys, I've given my decision. Keep it quiet. If you don't hear the whistle, play. And that's it. There can sometimes be a debate over the set. That's when the ball is played above the forehand, like Jake Sheaf has just done there. No problems with that one. No complaints from Switzerland at all. Ball has to be contacted simultaneously with the hands, and it mustn't be carried or lifted or thrown. It's got to be a fast, simultaneous contact to count as a legal set. It's the only part of the game that requires that judgment from the referee, and that's poor judgment from Jonas Kissling. Once again trying his cut shot that he plays so well, but Jake Sheaf and Chris Gregory all over it. The error forced, England 10-8. Another poor set from Kissling, forcing Kovac away from the net. And just a reminder here, the Swiss pair know how hard they have to hit this ball to get it away. And that's a miss-hit that sails wide. And now a 3-point lead at international level is gold dust. This is something England can work with in set one. That's the hit that he was going for last time around. This time Kovac manages to wrap his hand over the top of the ball and control it into court. That's a good hit from Kovac. Reduces the deficit to 2 points, but England have the advantage of being able to attack to increase that scoreline once again. Gregory, good pass. Nice set from Jake Sheaf, and that is sweet from England. So that's what it's all about for Gregory and Sheaf. Keep siding out, keep winning the points, and maintain the lead through to 21. That's the plan anyway for coach Louis Lett and his England duo. See if the boys can make it happen after the break with the conclusion to this first set right here on Sky Sports. Welcome back to the CEV Continental Cup here in Bournemouth. It's a vital match for England in this Group D final. And at the moment, England 1, way too good for Switzerland 2 as they maintain their 3-point advantage in this first set. 13-10 to England 1. Oh, and that is a huge block from Chris Gregory. Well, this is what he specialises in, and he has shut the lights out on Jonas Kissling. No way through that wall at the net. And that will have a bearing. This time they serve Kovac. Gregory again gets a piece of it. This time, though, the bugle, as it's known, going straight through the arms and straight off the forehead of Chris Gregory, which means some running repairs needed here. Took that one full in the face. And it's knocked the sunglasses off, and it just shows how high above the net Chris Gregory is getting. Well, by my calculations, he must be reaching around about 340 on his block, so about 40 centimetres higher than a basketball ring. And that's jumping off sand, remember. If you think about it, that net roughly the same height as a football crossbar. And Gregory is over it by some considerable distance. Well, he's recovered his composure well, fixed the sunglasses. And that is another very nice cross-court hit. That inside to out cut is working really well for Gregory today. Look at that, 15-11 in this first set against a team that has had results in the top 10 on the World Tour. Another chance here. Well, that's coming over, but that's 4 touches. The block counts as a touch on the beach. The new rules aren't in yet. And this will be a complaint from Gregory and Sheaf. As soon as that ball touched the block, it was the first touch. And then Switzerland 2 took another 3 touches to get the ball back. Now that's where the point should have been finished. 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be England's point.
So no 4 touch being given there. Switzerland have the ball.
But in the end, Switzerland playing to the whistle, as you should do at this level, getting the ball through the hands of Gregory for the point. And the referee sticking with his decision. So Switzerland to serve, 12-15 down. 21 points the target, remember, and some justice. I think that Gregory and Sheaf will feel that's the case. Change of ends once again. But another opportunity to just increase this lead. Jake Sheaf heading back to the service line. 24 years of age, 6 feet 4 inches tall. Used to play alongside brother Luke. But Luke deciding on a career change a couple of years ago to become an officer in the army. And that's terrific defence from Jake. And the referee signals a fault on that set. And I think parity has been restored with regard to the decisions. This is one of those technical calls that referees have to make, and that is quite correct. A deep dish, the set being taken far too low down below the chin, and essentially throwing the ball up into the air, which isn't allowed. Good recovery by Switzerland. England won though, still have this very handy cushion. No need to expend the energy. That ball was already going to score the point. Kissling back to serve. And right down the centre. We call that the corridor of uncertainty, or the hubby wife serve on the beach. And no communication there, right down the middle of the court. So a cheeky point scored by Switzerland, a cheap point. And straight back into it. Well, Switzerland are going to have a word here with the referee, because they're saying, well, if you're going to call us for the set, you've got to call Chris Gregory. It was borderline, but it was clean. Once again, the ref's got it right, and those vociferous protests from Switzerland 2 have earned them a yellow card, so they're going to have to be careful here. Kovac has been booked. Kovac to attack, and that is just another unbelievable block. Unfortunately for Chris Gregory, it's just gone wide of the court. Look how far he reaches across the net here to take away the space. But just didn't have the hands and arms angled back into court. So Switzerland 2 trying to stay with this. They've chosen Jake Sheaf as their service target on the last 2 attacks, but he's been quite superb. This time just manoeuvring the ball off the top of the hands and into space. Deflection out of court, a wipe off as it's called. And another good serve, pressure again. Oh, that's a terrific break and very good defence from Sheaf. And a little bit of luck to finish that one off, but England 1 will take anything they can get at this stage. Well, the courtside announcer, Mark Perkins, just saying to Jake Sheaf's mum, Mandy, did she like that shot? That's a terrific set from Gregory to get it tight to the net. And Mandy, a former British beach volleyball champion herself, will be enjoying this performance from Jake. I think she was a little concerned after Luke decided to move away from beach volleyball and into a new career that Jake wouldn't find another player that he could really work with, but it's not been a problem. Chris Gregory turning out to be the perfect partner at the moment, the man that came through the Sporting Giants programme in 2009, and in a relatively short period of time has turned himself into a world-class player. Another couple of years, and I think Gregory and Sheaf are going to be the real deal on the World Tour. Good serve, putting Gregory under pressure. Oh, that's a super swing and a great piece of defence as well from Jonas Kissling. And the line shot very good. And a timely reminder there as we head towards the closing stages of this first set, just how good this Swiss pair are. That's quite brilliant play from Jonas Kissling. But it's still 3 set points and a chance to attack for England. Another poor pass from Gregory. It's tight and it's defended. Well, things getting better and better for this Swiss team. And how many times have we seen this in sport? You get yourself to the line, you do all the hard work to earn the set points and match points, but winning that last point can be tricky. 2 chances to do it still for England 1. 2 line blocks signalled for Switzerland, so if he can get a good set on the net here, Sheaf, this should be good cross court. And no. Goodness me. Well, they're pressing the self-destruct button at the moment, England 1. Chris Gregory with another hitting error. Squeaky bum time, as Sir Alex Ferguson would say, for England here. Chris Gregory again the service target. That's a better pass, and that is demolished. And not before time. All that good work in set 1 nearly undone. But Gregory and Sheaf finally get it right. 21-19. They lead Switzerland by 1 set to love. A fantastic start for England in this crucial match. Gregory and Sheaf need just 1 more set to take this series to the golden match. More action to come after the break right here on Sky Sports. Welcome back to the Leaf Studio School in Bournemouth and coverage from the Group D final in round 1 of the CEV Continental Cup. The home side are chasing this best of 3 match series, England 2 having lost the first encounter to Switzerland 1. But things in match 2 are looking up, with Chris Gregory and Jake Sheaf needing to win just 1 more set to level the tie. Well, Switzerland 2 seem to have kept that mini revival that they had at the end of the opening set going into this second set. Must-win situation for them, or this is going to be going to a golden game. And I would imagine it's going to be the 2 top pairings to contest that one. Kovac and Kissling working very hard in this rally, but it's another chance for Gregory and Sheaf. And that is the value of having a tall player. They can hit angles that just don't exist for other people. This is a big clubbing right hand from Chris Gregory. Not sure he caught all of it, but it's gone into the corner and comfortably onto that line. So all that hard work from Switzerland 2 amounts to nothing. 6-4 England. Well, that's all that's left really to the Swiss attackers at the moment. When it comes to Chris Gregory blocking at the net, they really have struggled to get past him, so they're having to go off him. And that's well done, but surely it's only a matter of time before the big man gets hold of them again. Lovely stuff. That's proper beach volleyball. This is what you'll see on the European and World Tours. Phases of the players just controlling the ball so well, doing what they want with it, and then you'll get these little pockets of explosive play. Good defence, big block. Something like this, in fact. Oh, that's unlucky. Eyes lit up then as that ball came back off Jake Sheaf's defence. This is the right decision from Chris Gregory, but he's just snatched at it. Smashed that straight into the top of the net tape. So a let-off for Kissling and Kovac, and they've decided to go with just a single blocker policy here. Kovac running through every time to block. And that is all too easy. 1.96 m tall is Mats Kovac, but he's just not getting enough height at the net here to stop Jake Sheaf hitting this ball as hard as he wants. Straight through the arms, field goal. And another point on the board for England's #1 pairing, 8-6. Well, the Continental Cup set up in order to allow nations that maybe don't get as high a ranking on the World Tour to compete for a place at the Olympic Games. And you have to say, Gregory and Sheaf taking full advantage here alongside Weaver and Smith as the England team in Bournemouth. Again, more good control from Switzerland. Excellent pass off that tricky service. And then a fine set, just poke it over the block for the point. So Jonas Kissling to serve. That's a good short serve. Trouble here for England. They've tried to go short as well, but that's hoovered up by Kissling. It's tight, and it's going to be Switzerland's point. And I'm afraid, Chris Gregory, you can't do that. He's gone into Swiss airspace without first getting clearance from air traffic control. You've got to let this ball come across the net. And just a little impetuous there from Gregory. But we'll let him off. He's been brilliant for most of the game, but he's been given a bit of a roughing up here at the moment by Jonas Kissling on this serve. It's another good one, moving in to out. And the big man just not getting down quickly enough to that. So 9-8, Switzerland have wrestled the lead back, and they've made it a 2-point lead with a big slice of luck. Kissling working very hard, apologises quickly to Gregory, but he'll take the point. This time back to Schief. Unusual decision there from Switzerland, and they've paid the price. Well, I don't think Jonas Kissling thought this through. He had Chris Gregory in all sorts of bother on the service, and then he's just gone to Jake Schief instead, and Schief has made that look so easy. Single point in it. It's another tight set, but that's very well done. Mats Kovac just negotiating the block of Chris Gregory. It's quite an obstacle to get over and round, isn't it? So these shots from Switzerland have to be very precise indeed. Well, again, Jake Schief is the target. I'm not sure about this serving strategy from Switzerland. And he's punished them with another crunching spike. Good ball control from England. It's a nice pass into the middle of the court, which Chris Gregory can set quite easily and then space either side. And Jake Schief chooses just to chop that away from the block for the point. Well, glorious weather conditions here in Bournemouth. Very little wind, lovely temperatures. It is ideal beach volleyball conditions. Little nibble off the net, but well passed. Oh, that's just too good. There was a moment of inevitability as that ball was set. And side onto the court, you're just thinking, no, this is too close to the wingspan of Chris Gregory. And he builds the block on the cross court and shuts it down. That's a really nice change-up for the cross court block. That's how it should work, nice and late. 11-all. Well, that's how it works for Gregory and Schief. The block is effective. So Switzerland have to set this ball away from the net. And with that additional height and the slower pace shot, Jake Schief has always got a chance to get there. Another good pass from Schief. And another terrific cross-court hit. Again, just catching the top of the net, but that didn't change this shot. That's a great kill inside the block. And Jake Schief playing very solidly on side out, which is the part of the game where you attack and try and win the service back. A late decision there to block by Chris Gregory. I think you just have to accept the fact that when you start out in beach volleyball, it's going to take you something in the region of 8 years to really develop your game, to develop your sand legs, to understand all the options available within the sport and to perfect your shots. Köbel and Heuscher did it for Switzerland, 8 years on the tour, and then won their bronze medal in 2004. With the England pairing being only 24 years of age each, there is plenty of time to develop through a couple of Olympic cycles and maybe get the big reward. All sights set on Rio, though, for the moment. Good serve once again from Gregory. Well, catches a piece of it. That would have been legal if he'd managed to kick that back over the net. Just a little bit of missed timing at the moment from Gregory in his blocking. Now, again, that cross-court block signalled, and again, Jake Schief is the target. Well, I can't agree with this serving strategy from Switzerland. And it's making them frustrated, but it's just the wrong decision. Jake Schief is passing well, he's siding out even better, and look at the vision here. He knew exactly where the defender was going, and that block was never going to trouble him. Here we go then, business end of this second set, 14-all, change of ends. It's going to be Schief to serve with Gregory at the net, and this is what you get time and again when you've got two world-class pairs on the sand. They trade points all the way through to the conclusion. It's another big hit from Kovac. Kovac has been the service target for the majority of this game. And I think the plan is here. He hits the ball very hard, but he hits it low. And that gives chances, certainly in the block, for Gregory. Sheaf again, asked to side out. Oh, this is too good. This is just too good, and I really can't understand why the Swiss team aren't just changing this up a little bit. This is a training session for Jake Sheaf, hitting practice. That's a hammer of a spike cross-court. Oh, and a serve to follow. And now England too have got themselves a mini break. Just that little advantage from the service ace. Chris Gregory jumping and reaching high for that float serve. And again, forcing the player right out to the baseline. Brilliant defence once more, but that's not a good set from Gregory. Switzerland still in this rally. And that's a sweet shot. Gregory backing away from the net, which is probably what he should have done on the first attack, the one that Sheaf defended. But this is precision attacking from Kissling. It's actually left by Gregory. Just bit the line, so Switzerland back on level terms, 16-all. Gregory finally the target, but the whistle has gone for a foot fault, and that is so sloppy from Jonas Kissling. You can't stand on the line, you can't put your foot under the line. These lines suspended on pieces of elastic that move away to be pegged down in the corners. So if a player catches their foot on the line, they're not going to do damage. And it means they hover above the sand, so you can slide your foot under them, but that is illegal at the service line. So another solid attack from Kovac, working it off the block and out of play, and again going for that short serve to try and test the movement of Chris Gregory. But two service faults back to back for Switzerland too, and you can't do that at this level. If you're going to bring a set home, you've got to be on it, and if you're going to make back-to-back errors, then you're going to hand the momentum, the impetus to your opponents. Another change of ends. Gregory to serve. Watch him hit this serve and then scamper into the net to block. It's a huge demand on a day like this, and that's great work. Gregory breaking from the net to make the play. But Switzerland still in this. It's out. Well, Switzerland were made to work very hard there for that point, and when the opportunity came to kill the ball, it's a third straight error from them. They've hit it out over the baseline. And a tremendous amount of credit there goes to Gregory for his work at the net, but that is a poor shot from Kovac. 19-17, is that the decisive two-point break? Into the middle of the net, another error from Switzerland. More pressure from Gregory at the net. That's what caused the hitting error. But in the blink of an eye, England 1 have moved to 3 match points and a chance to take this series into the golden game. Tight. Stopped for the first time by Gregory. He's going to get a second go at this, and another shot goes wide of the court. Switzerland hit it long, and a clinical performance from this young England team brings home a valuable victory. No wonder coach Louis Lett is pleased, sprinting onto court to celebrate with the players, and that is thoroughly deserved. They really didn't look in trouble in this match, and Gregory and Sheaf win it by 2-0, 21-19, 21-17. A vital win under pressure, and Adam Phillips talked to the England duo.
Guys, a fantastic win there to level the series. What are your emotions straight off the court?
Really happy with that win. They're a very good team, highly ranked in the world. So we had a solid game plan going out, and we executed it really well. So very, very, very happy, and really looking forward to the next game.
Beach volleyball is an aggressive sport, and there was a little bit of back and forth with you guys. That makes for a game. It makes for a good game as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, emotions run high on court, and sometimes you have a little bit of a battle with the other team, whether it be speaking or playing volleyball. So yeah, it happens, but we're all friends off court, really.
This levels the series. It goes to a golden match. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, big time. It's another chance for us to go out and play against a really, really top side. Obviously, one of the players went to the Olympics in 2012, quality player, and I think that the progression made so far is testament to what we've done this season, and we're looking forward to going and testing that against these guys.
Guys, we wish you all the best.
Thanks, buddy. Cheers.
Cool, cheers.
And so say all of us. Gregory and Sheaf guarantee drama here in Bournemouth as they take this final series down to the wire against the Olympic pedigree of Switzerland 1 and Sebastian Chevalier. It's winner takes all next time on Sky Sports with the deciding match from Group D in the CEV Continental Cup. Can the Swiss silence the crowd, or will England's new star pairing have the last laugh here in Bournemouth? We'll see you again soon for more world-class beach volleyball action.